Okay, so this is District, yet another port from Insurgency 2014. This one, I think, was available in co-op back then. So basically a repeat experience. Problem with this one is that they did not think of fire support when designing the original Insurgency. So it becomes a problem because the bots can just call down explosive mortars on you. And there's nowhere to hide because the last point is just a open area. It's like an open plaza. There's nothing that can block the explosives from falling on your head. Other than that, though, the scenery looks great. There are some glitched textures, but that's pretty par for course. As I've said before with the 2014 Insurgency maps. So you get what you pay for, right? All right, next map. Peak from Insurgency 2014. I'm sure you're already tired of these Insurgency 2014 maps, but hey, this was definitely one of the few maps in the original 2014 Insurgency that definitely felt very unique, and it also does in this mode. Now, the server I was on had like 1 million bots, so it was definitely very hard to complete. Definitely not one of the easier maps, but I would say it's one of the best ported maps. I didn't notice any textures glitching when I played it. I think it was the one with the least texture glitches and just noticeable bugs that I saw. Pretty much works straight up from source. So I guess the porting process went pretty smoothly for this one, comparatively. Overall, a very big open map, so bots are pretty strong. Definitely pretty challenging, but thankfully we did not get mortared from the sky, so that was a big plus. And since the map was designed for PvP in mind and was designed by the developers of the original Insurgency, who, you know, were doing a much better job than when they made the original maps for Insurgency Sandstorm, the lighting and the engine makes everything look just a bit better, I would say. Even with the original textures and models all still pretty much being the same, everything just looks a little bit better. It's definitely something that you'd love to see in a sequel to a game, right? Every map that isn't being ported from 2014 Insurgency to Insurgency Sandstorm is a wasted opportunity, all right? Let me just put it out there. Obviously, changes have to be made, but anyways, great map, lots of fun, pretty challenging as well. All right, the next map I'm going to talk about is called Containment, and it actually takes place in Pripyat, the containment zone, I assume, of the Chernobyl accident or nuclear fallout plant, whatever happened there. So you've seen this area in a lot of other video games. Definitely has a specific vibe to it, but I really like the way that it was put into Sandstorm because it uses a lot of new assets. So definitely doesn't feel like any other map that's currently in the game or has even been modded into the game. It's definitely a really nice change of pace. And on top of that, it is very long range. Now, I personally don't really like long range maps, to be honest. But for some reason, I want to make an exception for this just because I think the map is unique enough to deserve this huge size. This is probably also why the map feels so nice to me, is all the custom assets that they use. Well, these custom assets have to also take up space on your hard drive, right? So it's like 4 gigabytes for a map, which is pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's worth it. It's definitely a fun experience for playing at least once. It does get a little bit tiring to be running between the points. I think it's 300 meters between points, so quite a long area. Extremely interesting thing in this map is the weapon caches. So in every checkpoint map, you're going to have points and also weapon caches. You have to capture points, but weapon caches you have to blow up. In this map, the weapon caches are not boxes, but instead huge helicopters or trucks. They're these custom models. This also makes the map feel unique in a way, and it lets you shoot these objectives from hundreds of meters away, so it skips a lot of running around too, which gives the map its own charm. You've got all the famous landmarks. You got the Ferris wheel, you got the statue, and you got the Soviet apartment buildings. I mean, what is there not to like, right? There's even an underground bunker area, which is nicely detailed. And yeah, the one thing that I would criticize is the bot spawns. You definitely have to abuse the M249 like I am in this footage, because without it, man, the bots are going to spawn right on your ass and you're going to fucking die in 5 seconds. So trust me, you're going to need to abuse the M249 in order to thin out the bots. Other than that, you know, it's a very solid map. I think it really switches up the formula. Despite having a lot of traits that I usually hate in Insurgency maps, I definitely like it. And I think that everybody should try playing it at least once. Hopefully on a custom server where there's mods like the medic mod to make it a bit easier. This map is Der Bunker, the same guy who made Der Ries or Der Rise. Still have to search up the pronunciation of that. Essentially, you have a pretty nondescript opening where you start in the kind of like a Soviet bunker area, I guess, but on top of it. But once you go actually into the bunker, things start looking really, really good. This work really looks professional and probably one of the better interior maps out there. It's kind of interesting because a lot of custom maps look better on the outside, but this one actually looks a lot better on the inside, I would say. The structure is pretty simple. You just have these long corridors. I mean, it kind of realistically looks like what a bunker would look like. Definitely would not be fun as a multiplayer map, but as a co-op one, I mean, you really get a lot more creative because you don't have to think about too much balance and things like that. So yeah, the creator of this map seems to really like his extremely detailed Unreal Engine interiors, and the lighting is just great. I mean, just look at it. But yeah, the layout is a bit unorthodox, although it's quite simple. Just a bunch of long corridors as you might actually find in a nuclear bunker, I suppose. And every hallway has these wires on the wall. If someone can tell me why there's so many electrical wires on the wall in these places, that would be pretty interesting to know. Probably mining crypto down here, honestly. But yeah, you got a bunch of industrial equipment, got a bunch of pipes, got a bunch of ventilation shafts and other random equipment that you might find in a nuclear bunker. And the map itself is not that long either, so pretty to look at, and it'll pretty much satisfy all your bunker map needs, whatever the hell that means.